Thousands of Palestinian residents fled their homes in the Jenin refugee camp after Israel launched one of its biggest attacks on the area in 2 decades. Hundreds of Israeli soldiers poured in, and with air support as well as drone attacks and missiles damaging buildings and critical infrastructure. For Palestinians, the Jenin refugee camp has become a symbol of resistance, with many of its young men taking up arms to defend the community and to carry out operations against Israeli soldiers and rampaging settlers. For many observers, Israel failed to achieve its mission in Jenin, which was to root out the fighters completely. Resistance groups remain and have been strengthened as the refugee camp and the entire country has rallied behind them. The attack on Jenin came at a strategic timing politically for the Israeli regime. It followed the settlers' pogroms against Palestinians that have embarrassed the establishment. It also comes amid continued demonstrations from Jewish Israelis against the judicial reforms that has seen some of Israel's largest protests against the right-wing government. Chinese exports of industrial products and materials containing germanium and gallium will require a license starting on August 1st. These restrictions aim to disrupt Western production of semiconductors and dual-use technologies in retaliation for Western restrictions on China's own semiconductor sector. This is the first time China has responded strategically and demonstrated that she is willing to engage in direct retaliation against US semiconductor restrictions, something it had largely avoided previously. China is the leading producer of both germanium and gallium, and according to the US Geological Survey, produced around 67 and 86% of the two elements' global supplies. Gallium and germanium are commonly used in the semiconductor industry, such as for gallium nitride semiconductors that are becoming increasingly attractive as an alternative to silicon semiconductors in electrical vehicle and 5G industries. Gallium arsenide is also commonly used in solar panels. It is also used in radars and the F-35. The US-China economic war has just taken another turn. The Biden administration has decided to arm Ukraine with cluster bombs and will announce the munitions as a part of a new $800 million arms package. The White House used to be opposed to arming Ukraine with cluster munitions as they are indiscriminate weapons that cause harm to civilians, but the concerns have waned. Cluster bombs scatter small submunitions over large areas, making them especially hazardous to civilians who can find unexploded munitions years after they were dropped. Because of their indiscriminate nature, cluster munitions have been banned by more than 100 nations. The US, Ukraine and Russia are not parties to the treaty, known as the Convention on Cluster Munitions. A Human Rights Watch report said that Ukrainian cluster munitions rocket attacks in the eastern city of Izium in 2022 killed at least 8 civilians and wounded 15 more. HRW also said Russia's use of cluster bombs in the war has killed many civilians.